Here's a game I never heard of until I was trawling the eShop late one night looking for cheap games. That's when I saw MacBat64, Journey of a Nice Chap, and thought it could make for a fun one to play for a video. I've done a few indie games already, but not an indie 3D platformer. I start off with The Beginner's Bar, where it fills me in on the plot of Kiwi 64, a game I did not know of at the time and especially did not know that this game was a sequel to. It talks about how the Kiwi from that game saved Kiwi Land from the Melon King, and then this game takes place somewhere in the Caribbean 2 years later. Inside the bar, I have MacBat talk to his parrot captain, who offers to tell me his story if I get him a drink. Everything is very cute and banjo inspired with the googly eyes, and everyone else in the bar has things to say. Even Kiwi from the previous game is here, being driven mad by something relating to collectibles from his own game. I use MacBat's multiple jumps to grab the coin in the corner and the coin in the chandelier. The rhino at the bar is selling tea for free coins though. I go through the door in the back and run on this wheel to open up the hole down into the cellar, where a box tells me to run around that camera, refusing to let me down into the pump. I do so, and while it is dizzy, I can jump down the hole. The fish down here is impressed I made it and gives me the third coin. I take the pipe back to the bar, trade my coins for some tea, and take it over to the parrot. He asks MacBat if he knows where the world's water is coming from. He says it's from the Watery factory, but production there has stopped and the factory has been sealed shut so nobody knows what's going on. But he knows the rough locations of the 6 keys needed to unlock the front door. He's too old for all the platforming required to reach them though, so he offers MacBat a place on his boat so he can help save the Caribbean. MacBat accepts and the two sail off, completing this world. Next up is Birdie Beach. The way this game works is that each level is like a super condensed version of a level from a 90s 3D platformer, but more as a big puzzle with the enemies removed, just leaving the exploring, collecting, and cute characters. There's the monkey who's hungry but too into his game to go and eat. Kiwi's here, wishing his own game had a beach level. One of 5 coins is just by this tree near the octopus in the water. He's evil though and ate a child's balloon out of spite. Nearby is the second coin on a crate, and past it the money bag looking for the coins, as they are actually his innards. And then past him is the third coin in a chest and a green balloon behind it. Back on the main island I press this switch to make a blowpipe appear on the crate I found my second coin. Using it I can pop the octopus to reveal a purple balloon. I can't grab it while I have the green one still, but I can pick up the banana behind it. My fourth coin is on the stack of crates behind the monkey, and behind those crates is one of 4 Kiwi statues. I give the monkey the banana and he leaves me a red balloon. The final coin is up this rock, and I attach my balloon to this cage at the top holding the first key prisoner. I then take the purple and red ones up there and attach those, then trade all 5 coins to the bag for the final balloon. With a balloon on all 4 corners, the cage is lifted and I can grab the key. Through that short level, I've already got the gist of what to expect from the game going forward. Next up is Tulsa's Forest. In this enclosed area of the forest, and nearby is a closed temple with an owl telling me that I'm gonna need a sword, shield, and hat. Nearby there's a single coin hidden underneath a pile of leaves. There's a locked chest, and next to it, Kiwi complaining about his soup tasting metallic. That's because he's cooking a key in with it. I take it and unlock the chest for the shield I need. I go to this shop where a knight is looking for the Goblet of Tulsa, and next to him I trade my coin for the hat. Past the shop I find the sword embedded into a skull. Now I'm fully equipped I can enter the temple where the decorative skeletons talk to you. Through the door are 3 mirrors, one reflecting light. I move them all so that the light is reflected to this face on the wall to open the next door. I then go through another door and push open this coffin to reveal the switch that opens the next door. Then through another to reach a room made to look like a top-down Zelda game. There's a shadow of MacBat that moves in the opposite direction and 2 glowing spots on the floor. I have to get MacBat and the shadow standing on each one a few times to open the next door. In the final room is the Goblet of Tulsa and a walk back out. I give the goblet to the knight in exchange for the second key. Now I can move on to the 4th level, Strangely Familiar Jungle. So after levels that seem to be inspired by Banjo-Kazooie and Zelda, this one feels like a little tribute to Donkey Kong 64. There's all these ghost balloons around and Kiwi's freaked out by them, wanting them popped. There's a red balloon here and the monkey is back, as is the money bag who has lost his innards again. One of his coins is right above him in this tree. 2 more of the coins are underwater, along with a switch that opens up the gate to a cave. I attach the balloon to this lounger near the money bag and go into the cave for the 4th coin, a second balloon, the 5th coin, and a switch that puts a blowpipe in the tree above Kiwi. I attach the second balloon and give the bag the coins for the 3rd, which I also attach. I get the blowpipe and pop all the balloons to Kiwi to give me the last balloon, letting me ride up to the top, finding a monkey with actual voice acting by Grant Kirkhope, and the 3rd key. But it turns out that someone who knows Kiwi has been watching MacBat and is out to take down both of them. Next we have Bright Islands. Since this level plays on a 2D plane, it could be a tribute to either Yoshi's Story or Kirby 64. There's this huge tree here and the parrot says helping him is the way to get the key. His fruits have gone missing and he wants them back. The first one is just to the left. followed by these bouncy ball things I can use to launch myself to the second fruit. I use them to reach the top of this hollowed out tree and fall inside to the bottom where the third is. I bounce out the other side and keep going right and past this hole until I find a spotted egg. I roll back and down the hole to make the fourth fruit appear. I reach the end where the fifth fruit is on a blimp that shoots up into the air, so I bounce up after it, get the fruit and get walked back to the tree where I can trade them to him for the fourth key. For level 6 we have Tubular City. Now this one I think isn't based on any N64 game, at least not one I know of. The monkey is here and miserable at not having the money to buy the new Legend of Bat 2. I get climbing the giant floating Rubik's cubes nearby for 3 coins and then drop down to the nearby tree for the fourth. Back on the floor there's a car offering me a ride if I can bring in 4 batteries. Next to him there's just straight up a Terminator, then an octopus who wants me to show my moves on the stage. I have to stand on the green space to make it yellow and then land on the new green one that appears without touching a red space. Doing it right gets me the first battery. Time to enter the shop next to the monkey where I can get the final coin. Behind the stairs is a little arcade game I can play where I have to move up and down to shoot aliens. Taking out 4 aliens grants me the second battery. Up the stairs and there's another arcade game clearly inspired by Zelda 2. While the grey Link walks back and forth, I have to time MacBat's jump to grab the bag on the ground. He speeds up after each one I get, and once I pick up 6 bags, I get the third battery. That was Legend of Bat 2, and I give my coins to the shopkeeper for a home copy. I give it to the monkey for the final battery, and with them I can get inside the car. It leads to a short minigame on the road where I have to build up speed while avoiding the barrels dumped in the road. Once I build it up, the car blasts off and the level is complete. Once the car stops, we've found the 5th key. For level 7 we're just chilling a bit with Mac Race. The parrot suggests taking a break with some friendly kart racing. There's just 3 racers here, MacBat, the parrot and Kiwi, and the parrot cheats and sets off before go. I have 4 laps, it's a wide track and I don't move super fast so it isn't that hard. Obstacles include oil slicks and walls with the Melon King's face on them. There are 2 items depending on when you press the button after getting a box, speeding up while becoming a giant octopus and speeding up without becoming a giant octopus. It's a short track and apart from one moment in the 3rd lap when Kiwi speeds in front, once I take first I keep it for the rest of the race. I haven't done something painfully incompetent in this video yet, so let's change that with Moody Mansion. I'm in a small hallway with a load of locked doors around me. There's also a hooded figure who's lost his eyes. I can push through the door to the left where there's a ghost banana wandering around which will send me back to the start if I make contact with it. Around the back of this room is a blue key, which I use to unlock the door opposite this one. It leads to a red key in a room with this mummified body and 4 switches, and this is where everything falls apart. I can't figure out the order of these switches, as I shouldn't know yet, and go back to unlock the red door. But it leads to a giant ghost banana that takes up the entire corridor that I simply cannot squeeze past. In the end I spend a few minutes trying out the buttons thinking that's the next step, until I get the right order and wake the mummy to gain the 6th and final key. I know I'm missing something here as I still haven't figured out how to get through that corridor. But in the room with the blue key, I do discover the 2nd Kiwi statue hidden behind a photo of Kiwi. While I'm trying to work out this level, I quickly return to Tulsar's forest to find I missed another Kiwi statue behind the shop. In total, this level took 15 minutes, and I'm so embarrassed I had to look this up. I still have the red key as seen in the corner of the screen, and there's a 2nd red door I've been walking past this whole time without noticing. Through this corridor there's a giant eyeball and I roll it back to the hooded person and he gives me a torch to carry on my head. I take out the ghost with this and reach the purple key and open the door to meet this vampire who I think is one of MacBat's relatives based on his comment on visiting more often. He's got a book containing the game's level select on his desk, and the walls show the correct switch order, that's how you're supposed to figure it out. But now I can finally move on to level 9, Watery Factory. The 6 keys are entered and the place opens up. The parrot gives MacBat some flippers so he can move faster underwater. They sail inside and now I have to look around. Next to the boat there's this hungry rubber duck and then next to it a blue balloon. There's a pipe with ice saying it used to make the world's new water until a melon ruined everything. I take the first of 5 screws from under what is pretty much its nose. Those screws are for this guy on a submarine who crashed into the wrong game. Behind this giant head thing I can drop underwater for the 4th and final Kiwi statue. I talk to the head who says they used to fix up the problems here until someone put a mask on them to stop them seeing. Right beneath them underwater is a chest with the 2nd screw inside. Down at the bottom is a box of cereal and a starfish I give the balloon to in exchange for the 3rd screw. A giant fish skeleton is swimming around here with the 4th screw attached to its tail. I give the cereal to the duck so it allows me to bounce on its back to get the final screw, which I then hand over to the guy for a blowpipe. I use said blowpipe on the mask to reveal the giant head's unnerving face and get myself this stamp that completes the level when obtained. Our not so mysterious villain is now deciding to get involved, leading to level 10. Huh? The villain reveals himself to actually be the Melon King, piloting a huge mech, now calling himself the Melon Emperor. He tries to squash me with each hand, but when I dodge them both, a blowpipe appears and I take the chance to repeatedly shoot his glowing weak spot. For phase 2, 4 switches appear around the arena, one of them up. I have to make the hands land on the switch to press it and have a rock shot at the weak spot. This also raises another switch. I do this 4 times and the mech starts exploding, which also blows the arena into little chunks I have to jump across to reach this cannon at the end to fire one last shot that sends the melon flying away. Macbat and the remains of the mech land on this beach where all the characters I've met throughout the levels are hanging out with words of praise, those that lived in the factory intending to move to and make a new one. I then grab this stamp to finish the level and get the credits. But I'm not done yet, as I've unlocked the bonus book with some extra levels. So moving over to it, the first bonus level is a 2D platforming one that may be set in a slaughterhouse. I have a little maze to navigate, passing through narrow corridors while avoiding touching the buzzsaws. It's pretty lenient though, as touching one barely sends you back. Just got to have a good grip on Macbat's multiple jumps and you'll reach the end in no time. For the second bonus level, I'm in a creepy haunted house, and the reason we can't leave is that we're going to the cinema with the parrot and he's left his money here. I leave into the hallway and go down, then take the room all the way to the right end to find the first coin. There's a ghost prowling the corridor that sends you back to the parrot on contact as well. First off on the left gets me to the second coin surrounded by tentacles. First room going up has a coin but it's locked in a cage. The next room has a switch that breaks open that cage so I can get the third coin. The next door in that row actually made me jump, putting the fourth coin in front of a giant ant's head. Then the middle door along the bottom has the fifth coin, so I can give them to the parrot and finish the level. Bonus level 3 now, and I'm outside a temple where the NPCs give me hints on how to find the Kiwi statues. Since I have them all, the top of the pyramid breaks open to reveal an item. We can also see the giant head from Watery Factory at normal size. The item is the wings of a Kiwi, which grant me infinite jumps, which will even allow me to get out of bounds, such as flying high enough to get me out of bounds here and fly towards this yellow stop and swap egg. Touching it puts me in this 16-bit Mode 7 JRPG world map I can fly around. Well, I say JRPG, it kind of looks more like Demon's Crest to me. I don't actually think you can do anything else here. I couldn't find anything and I couldn't seem to land. It's a fun little Easter egg regardless though. I quit out and go back into the level to grab the stamp and finish it properly. Bonus level 4 is more straightforward. It's a Christmas themed level and there are 80 Christmas tree decorations dotted around to pick up. There are some hidden under lumps of snow, but apart from that they're all out in the open and easy to spot. I do appreciate the little nods I noticed. The little houses like in Freeze Easy Peak from Banjo-Kazooie, the ice house with a little maze inside like Snowman's Land in Mario 64, and once again like in Banjo, having to fly through the star on the top of the Christmas tree, which is where the level ends here. I liked it. It was December while I was playing this and I do love the nighttime snowy levels. Then comes the final bonus level. Instead of an N64 game, this one pays tribute to Super Metroid. We even see Macbat zoom onto this planet in a similar way to Samus's ship. I start off outside and go through this blue door, which doesn't require being shot in this game. Through another one to find a pink door, but first I go through the blue one to the left. Then another blue one to reach this bridge. I fly to the top of these ruins to collect a big pink ball. With it I can go through the pink door to a cave filled with lava. There are 2 paths, and I first take the other pink door opposite the one I entered from to find more ruins. Fly to the top and I find the switch that opens up a hole in the previous room, so I go back and drop down it. I pass through the tunnel and find the Mecha Melon, which activates a self-destruct sequence with a 3-minute timer. That's more than enough, and it just takes me 33 seconds to go back the way I came. Macbat escapes while the entire planet explodes. That was the final bonus level and I get the credits again. This wasn't the most complex or sophisticated game ever, but I'm positive on this game in the same way I am with a game like Squidlet. For a game that cost very little, programmed by just one person, showing off these little tributes to a genre of game that other people decided for us that we were all sick of, I was impressed. Can't not mention that soundtrack that made it feel so much more authentic. I considered it £1 or so well spent by the time I was done. After the credits, the camera lingers on Kiwi for a while. I thought I'd unlocked a minigame, but after playing said minigame and finishing the recording, I learned I'd actually unlocked the previous game in the series. So I re-enter the cave in strangely familiar jungle where I go through the door marked Kiwi 64.